Now we will discuss about the Local Government Ordinance 2005. The local government system completed its first tenure in June 2005, but before holding new elections, the government decided to make some amendments in the local government system, and after consultation with the provincial assemblies, the government made some amendments in the local government system. The members at Union Council were reduced from 21 to 13. Now we will discuss about the Presidential Referendum 2002. On April 30th, 2002, the Election Commission announced to hold a presidential referendum on the question of electing the Chief Executive, General Pervez Musharraf, as President of Pakistan for 5 years. The opposition filed an appeal against the holding of referendum in the Supreme Court, but the 9 members bench of the Supreme Court rejected the appeal. Consequently, on April 30, 2002, a referendum was held that gave Musharraf a heavy mandate. In this referendum, General Pervez Musharraf was elected as the President of Pakistan for the 5 years. Now we will discuss about the Legal Framework Order LFO 2002. On August 21, 2002, Chief Executive Pervez Musharraf issued the Legal Framework Order, according to which the President would invite the nominee of the majority party in the National Assembly to take charge as Prime Minister, and the provincial governors would likewise invite the majority party in the provincial assembly to form the provincial government. Just after becoming the President of Pakistan, General Pervez Musharraf issued an ordinance which is called Legal Framework Order 2002, in which it was stated that the President will invite the majority party at National Assembly to form their government, and likewise the governors of all the provinces will invite the major party at provincial level in provincial assemblies to form their government. The LFO empowers the President to amend the Constitution such that the constitutional amendments cannot be challenged in any court of law. All the presidential orders and ordinances that the Election Commission issued after the emergency of August 14, 1999, and all the laws that were enforced between October 12, 1999 and August 21, 2002 could not be challenged as well. In this paragraph, it is stated that LFO empowered the President to make changes in the Constitution, and that changes will not be challenged, could not be challenged in any court of law. Actually, the main aim of the LFO was to legalize all the actions, all the orders, all the ordinances of General Pervez Musharraf between 12 October 1999 and August 21, 2002. These orders, which were issued between 12 October 1999 till 21 August 2002, could not be challenged in any court of law. Students, Now we will talk about the general elections 2002. The general elections were held throughout the country on October 10, 2002. The number of general seats in the National Assembly was fixed at 272. These were specified as under. In the National Assembly, there were 272 general seats, 60 were specified for women's, 10 were specified for minorities, and total seats were 342. In Punjab Assembly, 297 were general seats, 66 were reserved for the women's, 8 were reserved for the minorities, and the total seats in Punjab Assembly were 371. In Sim Assembly, 130 seats were general, 29 seats were reserved for the women's, 9 seats were reserved for the minorities, and total seats were 168. In KP Assembly, 99 seats were general, 22 were reserved for the women's, 3 for minorities, and total seats were 124. In Balochistan Assembly, general seats were 51, 11 were reserved for the women's, 3 for minorities, and total seats were 65. In the general elections 2002, Pakistan Muslim League Quaid-e-Azam group emerged as the major party with 72 seats in the National Assembly. Pakistan Muslim League CAF also secured 130 seats in the Punjab Assembly. Pakistan People's Party was the second largest party with 63 seats in the National Assembly. Muttahida Majlis-e-Amal MMA secured 45 seats in the National Assembly. In the Punjab and Sindh, PML CAF, while in Khyber Pakhtunkhwa and Balochistan, the MMA formed their governments. After the elections of 2002, PML CAF established their government in the center as well as in Sindh and Punjab, and MMA formed their government in Balochistan and in Khyber Pakhtunkhwa. Now we will discuss about the Musharraf's moderate policies. On September 11, 2001, the World Trade Center in New York and the United States Defense Department, commonly known as the Pentagon in Washington, were subjected to terrorist attacks, resulting in thousands of deaths. Al-Qaeda, operating from Afghanistan, claimed responsibility for these acts. For having maintained close relations with the Taliban, Pakistan was also looked at with suspicion by the international community. The United States attacked Afghanistan. The Musharraf regime tried to project the image of peace-loving country by offering all possible support to the United States in the war against terrorism. The decision to cooperate with the United States created a perplexion for Pakistan. This also caused disturbance and chaos. Now we will discuss industrialization. During the Musharraf regime, the economy witnessed much foreign and local investment, particularly in the telecommunication and automobile sectors. According to a World Bank report, Pakistan witnessed 6.8 growth in the last 8 years of Musharraf regime. A defense exhibition with the name Ideas 2000 was organized in Karachi from November 14 to November 17, 2000. The exhibition helped to introduce Pakistan's defense industry to the world and stimulated the sector of the country's industrial production. In December 2003, the founder of Microsoft, Bill Gates, agreed to invest in the development of information technology in Pakistan. In this topic, we studied that the growth rate was 6.8% during the regime of Musharraf. Now we will discuss about privatization. Remember that privatization policy was also adopted by Musharraf. During Musharraf regime, 5% of citizens rose from the poverty level and became part of the middle class. 5% people rose from poverty level. It was a great number of people who became part of the middle class. Okay. Most importantly, television, telecommunication, and motor car as well as motorcycle industry made much progress. Now, what is privatization and what is its effects on the economy? Privatization plays important role in the economic policy. It is the transfer of ownership of the assets and administration from government control to private sector. It bore lasting effects. Number one, private enterprises having a sense of ownership and profit motive are more competitive and innovative. Number two, privatization also improves the position of the employees as they can choose the company which offer more benefits. Number third, private enterprises established school and health units in their factories as incentives for the employees. Now we will discuss about the reforms undertaken during the government of Shaukat Aziz and Pervez Musharraf. Remember that after the elections of 2002, Shaukat Aziz was elected as the Prime Minister of Pakistan. He introduced some reforms in the economic field, social field, and democratic field. Now we will discuss it one by one. Number one, economic reforms. He introduced economic reforms in the country. According to that reforms, number one, general sales tax was implemented. Number two, tax rate was reduced while the tax net was widened. Number three, understanding the burden of indirect taxes which falls largely on the poor, steps were taken for increasing the share of direct taxes from the rich in the total tax revenue. Number four, to increase the revenue generating capacity of provincial governments, provincial taxes were introduced. Number five, the collection of tax on agricultural income was made a provincial matter. Number six, the office of the tax muhtasib was established. These were the economic reforms taken by Shaukat Aziz in the regime of Musharraf government. Now we will discuss about the social reforms introduced by Shaukat Aziz. To put the society in the right direction, moderation policy was adopted. Women were given more representation. Efforts were made to curb nepotism and corruption. The most important thing in the social reforms was that women were given more representation. Democratic reforms. The revival of local government bodies with more powers was one of the most important reforms undertaken by the Musharraf regime. It helped to promote democratic culture at the grassroots level. National Reconstruction Bureau (NRB) was established so that democratic institutions are stabilized. Remember that National Reconstruction Bureau was established for the implementation of local government system. Now we will discuss about the reforms introduced in the educational sector. The Higher Education Commission (HEC) was established with the objective of promoting higher education in the country. Foreign scholarships were offered to both students and teachers of outstanding academic record for pursuing higher education. Salaries and other fringe benefits were made more attractive for those working in public sector education institutions, which lured many foreign qualified Pakistanis to return home and provide their services within the country. Dear students, now we will talk about the computerization of national database. Remember that all the identity cards were computerized in the regime of General Pervez Musharraf. The introduction of computerized national identity cards to the citizen and the creation of a national database of demographic statistics helped to improve the holding of census. Dear students, now we will talk about the removal of Pervez Musharraf. Remember that in 2007, General Pervez Musharraf got a vote of confidence from the National Assembly, but many objections were raised because the National Assembly was not authorized because constitutionally it had completed its tenure. So, in 2007, Musharraf got a vote of confidence from the National Assembly for remaining president for the next 5 years, but objections were raised on it as constitutionally the Assembly was not authorized to do so because it had completed its tenure. Uncertainty prevailed in the country. In this situation, judiciary, lawyer community, and the civil society launched massive protest against Musharraf throughout the country. In response, Musharraf declared emergency in 2007 and proclaimed to hold general elections in 2008. He also suspended Chief Justice of the Supreme Court. In the meanwhile, both Nawaz Sharif and Benazir Bhutto returned to the country. On December 27, 2007, Benazir Bhutto lost her life in a terrorist assassination plot in Rawalpindi. Remember that Benazir Bhutto was killed in a terrorist attack at Liaquat Bagh, Rawalpindi in 2007. It was 27th of December. As a result of the elections held on February 18, 2008, Pakistan People's Party parliamentarian came into power and Yusuf Raza Gilani became Prime Minister. On August 18, 2008, Musharraf resigned from the presidency, and on September 6, 2008, Asif Ali Zardari was elected the country's new president. Remember that Musharraf was removed from his office due to a massive protest of lawyers and civil society, and in 2007 he imposed emergency in the country and proclaimed for the new elections in 2008. New elections, general elections, were held in 2008, And as the result of that elections, Pakistan People's Party got majority, and Asif Ali Zardari became the president after the removal, after the resignation of General Pervez Musharraf, and Yusuf Raza Gilani was elected as the Prime Minister of Pakistan. Thank you so much.